So these are all the different asset types that will be in Illuvium. There may be more introduced from here on out. And some of the images here I have are basically lumping a type of asset, but this is going to just be a quick tier list on how valuable those assets are going to be within the Illuvium ecosystem. So let's start with some of the assets that are currently out there and you can already get. So in Illuvium Beyond, this Archie here is going to represent the bulk of these Alluvatars. So not the rare ones. We're just talking about you go in any random Alluvatar. I'm going to put that down in C because there's going to be so many of these. And if you're building out an album, it's going to be easy to get for very cheap. If you're opening some discs, you'll be able to get a lot of these common Alluvatars. And for the most part, if you're just looking for a profile picture for your account, you're probably not choosing one of these really common ones. This Ramfire Alluvatar is going to represent the rare Alluvatars within Illuvium Beyond. Now I'm going to put that at tier A. So these Alluvatars are, I guess, comparable to Pokemon cards, from back in the day. And if you look back at the original set, Charizard, those are still quite expensive. So something like this Ramfire or any really rare Alluvatars that not everybody can get their hands on, they're already reselling for a high price. And after each wave, you can't create any more of these. So for example, I don't know off the top of my head, but this Ramfire, there may only be 100 of them. And right now we have an ecosystem of, a few thousand people playing Illuvium Beyond. When we have 100,000 people looking for these Alluvatars, these rare ones are going to become even more valuable. Now we have a promo Alluvatar. So there's been 2 promo sales, the GameStop and Team Liquid. These are going to go up closer to those rare Alluvials because these are only available for an even shorter time. Both of the promos have been only a week long. There are some more common ones within the promo sets. There are some more rare ones. But for the most part, these are going to be pretty rare and pretty exclusive. So I'm going to... Actually, you know what? They won't be quite as rare as some of those top tier Alluvials, but they are going to be somewhat rare. So I'm going to put that into the B category here. Now I have 2 accessories here. Basically, this is going to represent your common accessories. Again, the ones where if you're opening discs, you're bound to get these. That's going to go down in the D category because, again, these are worth pennies, if that right now. This accessory is going to be worth a higher tier accessory. So let's say those tier 4s, tier 5 accessories. I'm going to put that under B because you do need these accessories to build out your album if you're looking to complete your album. And especially those tier 5 accessories are pretty hard to get. Now, you can get them from wave to wave, but eventually we're going to get through the whole first set. And then, to my understanding, there should be a new set of accessories at that point. So most of these accessories, not going to be worth much, but the really rare ones, I think, will hold some value. Then we're going to go through the 3 types of discs. So there are standard and megas, but I'm looking at the normal extended sale disc, the alpha sale disc, and the promo disc. So your normal disc, I'm going to put that into category B. Because just like Pokemon cards, once the wave is complete, you can't buy any more of these discs. So in the future, when people are looking back and they want to get some from those original, wave 1, wave 2, they're going to have to buy these discs off the market and able to get those. But the alpha sale is what starts each wave. There was, I think, usually about 48 hours, 72 hours to get these. They basically have the same contents inside, except they have an alpha stamp, which is kind of like that first edition stamp for Pokemon. So these are always going to carry a little more value because they cost more and they're going to be more rare. The promo discs, I'm going to put in that same category. Each different promo has exclusive Alluvatars that you can't get anywhere else. And these are only running for a week at a time. So anybody who's already missed these first 2 promos, Team Liquid and GameStop, if you want to get your hands on some of these discs, you're going to have to buy them off of somebody else who bought the disc and didn't open it themselves. So then we got fuel. So this first one is just going to represent all fuel, and then I'll touch quickly on each individual fuel. So fuel is going to go under the A tier. Now, everything in the Illuvium ecosystem is going to revolve around this fuel. If there's in-game spending, most of those purchases are going to need to be made in fuel. So if you're holding onto this fuel and more people are entering the ecosystem, it's going to be quite valuable. The problem with fuel is that the production can be changed by the team. So if prices do start getting a little more out of control, the team can just increase the production on your Illuvium land, making what you're holding a little bit less. So it is going to be important to have that fuel, but holding on to it is not necessarily that important. And as I'm talking through this, I think I'm going to move that down to B, but I'll put it at the top of B. So for each individual fuel, we have Krypton, Solon, and Hyperion. Krypton is going to be the one that you're going to be using for travel. So I think that's going to end up being the most valuable one, because if you're going into the overworld, you need to travel. You may not need to cure any shards, you may not need to forge any equipment, but if you're going to travel, you need Krypton to travel. So I'm going to throw the other two in here down at C. So these next 5 here are going to be the tiers of land. You got tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, tier 5. Now, tier 5, there's only going to be 7 of these. They're going to be very exclusive. They're going to be very expensive. They're the only ones that's going to have like an arena, stadium, landmark where esports are going to be held. So most people are not going to be able to get their hands on it. But if you were able to get it, this would be an S tier right here, just because of that esports layout. Now, one thing to keep in mind about, these next 4, tier 1 through tier 4, is if you are looking for blueprints, which we'll get into in a second, each of these lands has the same opportunity to get blueprints as the rest. Obviously, the higher tier, you're able to get more resources to search for these blueprints quicker, but for the most part, any blueprint that you can get on a tier 4 land, you can also get on a tier 1 land. So because of that, the tier 1 is going to have a little bit more value compared to its price. So I'm going to throw this up in A tier. And when you're looking at the next 3, fuel production is going to be the most important for the ROI. So a tier 4 is going to have a fuel landmark, aside from just having more of those fuel sites. So to me, that is going to go up there right before tier 1 in the A category. Now, tier 2 and tier 3 are going to be able to produce fuel. They are going to be valuable, but I think compared to tier 1 and tier 4, they are slightly less. So I'm going to throw both of them in here under the B category. These next 2 here are blueprints. So outside of creating fuel on your land plots, blueprints are what you're going to be able to buy to create skins to sell those to the market. These 2 are going to represent your common blueprints and your rare blueprints. Common blueprints, I'm hoping I'm wrong here, but I'm going to put that down in this D category. I just don't think that these common blueprints are going to be worth much, because a blueprint is going to be able to create unlimited skins. You're going to have to use resources to create these skins. And when it comes to a skin in the game, like, even if you have collectors out there of skins, once you have one skin, you don't need multiple skins. So those common ones are going to be very easy to get, and there's going to be very little demand outside of like the really early stages to get those skins. And you can only use one skin at a time. So I don't see very many people using the very common skins if they have even one more rare skin. So this Titanar blueprint, I am going to throw up here in the A category, because this is going to represent those higher tier blueprints. So the ones that are going to be more exclusive, those tier 5s, the Ramfire skins. Now on your land, you're going to have to build up. If you wanted a Ramfire skin, you're going to have to find the Ramfy blueprint first, and then you're going to have to find the Ramfight blueprint before you can get to that Ramfire blueprint. These are going to be very rare and hard to come by. At some point, somebody will find the first one, and it could be months before somebody else finds that, and they might have a control on the market for Ramfire skins. If you're going to optimize your land for blueprints, it's going to take a little while, but when you start getting those rare blueprints, I think it can be worthwhile for you. All right, the next 2 is ILV and SILV2. They're going up here in the S tier. Obviously, ILV is the main governance token. You can stake it. That's how you get your RevDis. SILV2, you can buy in the open market right now for a discount on ILV, because when you spend it in game, the SILV2 is worth the same amount as the ILV. I've made some videos just on this coin alone. I think it's a very good buy right now, but obviously it's less utility than the ILV, but they're both going up here in the S tier. So these next 5 are going to represent actual Alluvials that you're going to be catching in the overworld from tier 1 to tier 5. Now, even your tier 1s that they're going to be common, you're still going to need to fuse 3 of these together to get your stage 2 tier 1, and then another 3 of those stage 2s to get the stage 3. And if you've been playing the PvP beta right now, these tier 1 Alluvials can still, they're competitive. People are using them in their teams, even though they have access to pretty much all the Alluvials right now. So even these tier 1s are going to be valuable. I'm going to throw it up here in the B tier. Tier 2s, even though they're tier 2, I put them on about the same level as the tier 1, because they're going to be very common, easy to get. When you're choosing a region to travel for in the overworld, you should be able to get plenty of these tier 1s and tier 2s in the cheapest travel. Then we have your tier 3s and tier 4s, which again, I'm putting these pretty similar. I'm going to put these in the A category. these are going to be the Alluvials that are going to be a little more accessible in a high level of competition. These are going to be a big part of those teams. When it comes to tier 5, so something like a Ramfy, I'm going to put that at the beginning of this A tier because those are going to be the ones that not everybody is going to have access to. So if you're looking at your favorite streamer, competitive esports player online, they might have like these Ramfires and Aphistos in their deck, and you might be looking on the open market being like, oh, if I want to buy this off of the Alluvadex, it's going to cost me $500. I just can't do that for my team right now. So they're going to be rare. I don't think they're going to be necessarily more expensive than the rarest Alluvatars, but I think from a value standpoint, all of these actual Alluvials are going to have some of the best value in the game because that's what this ecosystem is built around. We have things in here like Morphopods. We don't really know too much about Morphopods, what they're going to be able to do. I think they're going to be something cross-compatible between Illuvium 0 and the Overworld, but because we don't know really what it is right now, I'm going to put it in the D tier. All right, here's another Alluvial. This is the tier 0. Tier 0s are going to be available to anybody. If you're coming in and you don't want to spend a dime on this game, you can still play the free version basically and collect these tier 0 Alluvials. There'll be NFTs. You can build up their levels and maybe turn around and sell it to be able to start building a little bit of equity within your Illuvium account where you can start traveling to higher tier things. So they're not going to go down in D, but they are going to go in C. Now, this is going to represent skins that are not created from the Illuvium 0 blueprints. So these are going to be more exclusive. There's been some you could earn from Illuvium Beyond if you're buying a certain amount of discs. There are exclusive drone and battle board skins that are going to be out there. Now these are going to be somewhere between, the common skins that I had mentioned down here with this blueprint and up here with the rare blueprints. So somewhere in between, I'm going to put this right at the top of B. Now, Leviathans, this is the one thing I put in here that I'm not sure is going to be an NFT. Maybe Leviathans are just part of the lore and you can never own them. They're not NFTs. If they are, they're going to be super exclusive and it would probably go into S tier. But right now, we're not even sure if we can get a hold of it. So I'm going to put it down here in D. Emotes. Emotes, I think a lot of people are sleeping on them. I think a lot of them are going to be common, but there are definitely going to be some exclusive ones that people are going to want. For example, at the end of last year, if you played a certain amount of PvP games, you're going to be getting these exclusive Christmas emotes. And eventually those are going to be very rare and sought after. So I think they could hold some value. But then again, they don't have a ton of utility outside of just playing PvP and spamming them to your opponent. So I'm going to put those in here in the B category. And then the last one here, I just threw this in here. This just represents the merch. Now, some merch you can buy where you get an exclusive NFT with it. For example, the varsity jacket, you got an NFT that came with that, or the Bulldogs promo jersey. But for the most part, you buy a t-shirt or something like that, it's not like it's going to have any long-term value. There's really going to be an unlimited supply of those. So I'm going to throw that down here at the top of D. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this tier list. Do you think I got it right? Do you think those rare Alluvials like Ramfy through Ramfire, or even those rare Alluvatars are going to be some of the most valuable long-term? And also, let me know your thoughts on holding on to some things like fuel. Do you think that's ever going to be a good idea, or is it just going to be buy what you need and spend it? If you want me to make any more of these tier list type videos, let me know. I've done one in the past about ways to earn in Illuvium, and I'm going to have to update that at some point soon. Yeah, that's about it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.